In 2024, more Americans played golf than at any point in the history of the game. 47.2 million of them, and the largest single group on the course wasn't retirees. It was players 18 to 34, the sixth straight year that number climbed. And yet, you keep hearing the same headline, that Gen Z quit golf, that a whole generation walked away in 2 years flat. Both of those things cannot be true. So here's the part nobody actually explained. Gen Z never quit your game. They just never made it onto your course, because the front door to golf quietly moved and someone made very sure the kids would pay by the hour to stand in it. A peak hour bay at TopGolf in Las Vegas now runs as high as $97 an hour. The cost of touching a golf ball went up. The only question worth asking is who moved the door and who got paid. If you've been waiting for someone to actually audit this industry, not pitch it back to you, subscribe. You're early. Here's the thing the Gen Z quit headline gets exactly backwards. The last few years were not a collapse. They were a boom. After 2020, young players flooded in. The driving range at sunset. The Twilight 9 you could walk for the price of a sandwich. The Mooney where nobody checked your handicap and the starter knew your first name. You remember it. The pull cart. The cheap bucket of range balls. Country golf on a transistor radio in the cart. For a generation raised on screens, golf became the rare 4 hours with the phone in the bag. By 2024, a majority of the youngest golfers said the number one reason they played was their own head. Mental health, quiet, a walk that meant something. That is not a generation quitting. That is a generation arriving. The demand was real, the numbers were real, and the money saw all of it. But hidden in the architecture of that boom was something else. Here is the mechanism. The kids didn't show up at the country club. They showed up at the entertainment venue. And those are not the same business. They just wear the same logo. A golf course sells you around. One green fee, one walk, maybe a beer at the turn. An entertainment venue sells you square footage by the clock. You don't pay per round, you pay per bay per hour. Evening rates run $60 to $70 an hour at a normal location and as high as $97 in Las Vegas before the 20% service charge. Before the food, before the $5 card they make you buy the first time you walk in. Now do the math reality. 6 people in a bay for 2 hours at the high end is well over $200 in bay time alone. Then upscale sports bar food on top, then the service charge on top of that. A single birthday booking can out-earn what a public course makes off an entire foursome playing 18 holes. So follow the money. If you owned both businesses, which one would you feed? The one that sells a walk in the grass for $40? Or the one that meters a generation's attention at $100 an hour and sells them nachos while it runs? That's not a hypothetical. Somebody did own both. And here's where the official narrative collapses. The man at the center of this is Chip Brewer, the chief executive of what used to be plain old Callaway Golf. On October 27, 2020, Brewer announced Callaway would merge with TopGolf. The deal closed on March 8, 2021. An all-stock merger valued at the time at more than $2.5 billion. Callaway renamed itself TopGolf Callaway Brands. The pitch to investors was simple. TopGolf was how an old equipment company would reach the new young golfer. For a while, the story held. More than 35 new venues opened. Revenue climbed. But read the fine print on how it climbed. The growth came from opening new buildings, not from the existing ones doing better. Then the hidden metric showed up. In the third quarter of 2023, same venue sales, the sales at locations already open, started falling. By July of 2024, they were down 11%. The company missed its earnings. The stock dropped by nearly a third in weeks. And the moment the growth story wobbled, the love affair ended. On September 4th, 2024, TopGolf Callaway announced it would split TopGolf back off into its own company. Then it got worse. In August of 2025, TopGolf's chief executive resigned and the spin-off was delayed. This is greed in its purest accounting form. Buy the young golfer's attention at the top of the market. Sell it at the bottom. If this is making you angry, good. Subscribe. We do this every week, and every week this industry hopes we don't. Because in November of 2025, the bill came due. The company sold off the majority of TopGolf to a private equity buyer at a valuation of roughly $1.1 billion, less than half of what it had paid to merge at the peak. The name reverted to Callaway. The whole transforming the game story was quietly buried. A peak hour bay still cost you $97 in Vegas. The price to the customer never came down, only the price to the shareholders did. Drop your course's then and now number in the comments. The Muni round you played for $20, the bay that costs $90 today. We're tracking exactly what they did to the game. So what does this mean for you right now? Standing on the first tee or standing in a bay with a timer running? It means the affordable front door to golf. The cheap twilight round, the walk-on, the place a teenager could fall in love with the game for the cost of a movie ticket, is being replaced by a turnstile. A generation's first relationship with golf is becoming a transaction with a clock on it. And that's the thing that doesn't come back. You can build 100 more venues. You cannot unteach a generation that golf is something you rent by the hour instead of something you simply go and do. Once the cheap door closes, it closes for good. If you're watching this instead of network golf coverage, you already sense this. The broadcasts kept telling you the kids weren't interested. The kids were extremely interested. They were just being priced and routed somewhere the cameras don't point. Golf's cheap front door wasn't killed by a generation that stopped caring. It was killed by the people who figured out how to put a meter on it. So here's the bottom line. Gen Z didn't quit golf. Golf's owners quit on the cheap version of golf, the version that didn't have a service charge attached. The kids showed up in record numbers, and the industry's response was to sell them a clock. Next, we're looking at who is quietly buying up America's public Muni courses and what they're turning the back nine into. Drop your course's then and now dollar number in the comments. We're building the public ledger they should have, and subscribe, because the game has never been as clean as the press releases suggest.